Okay, and then how do I ping ranked?
It'll be plus ranked.
Plus ranked?
Yep. Oh, by the way, just before you do get your stream up, we
Oh, it is
actually
up.
made it. Oh, well, guess everybody can know then. Gold Premium users now have the ability to open multiple tickets.
Let's go. Is there a higher cap? What is the cap for Gold Premium?
Gold Premium has a total of 5.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. This way, if there is a need to have multiple, we at least have the ability now.
Very cool. Lexa wants to listen in on the audience. That's totally fine, Lex.
Yeah. I think she's... Oh, no, she's not yet.
Great. How is she seeing the chats but not in the channel? I guess it's just like a separate chat that she opened.
I guess so. Oh, she just didn't want to join in the stage. I see what she's saying now.
Yeah, Lexa, can you hear us? Ah, it put her on the stage. No, Lexa, it didn't. It shouldn't have.
Yeah, she's down there in the audience. You can mute the elevator music in the bottom left,
Yes.
I believe.
Bottom left has a mute music button. Moles likes the music. If you
Moles is jamming out to the elevator.
If you enjoy ambient music, my Twitch stream has different ambient music going. While we're getting started, do you drink alcohol, Bex?
I do.
What are you drinking tonight?
Jack Daniels tonight, actually.
Nice. I have a raspberry flavored White Claw. I'm completely
Ooh.
comfortable with my sexuality, so no consent.
I've always been a Jack guy.
There was a radio host who asked guys, like, if you were to turn into a woman for one day, what would you do? And of course you'd expect sexual answers, but instead, the most popular answer was go and drink girly drinks.
They're actually good.
Yeah, they are good, man. They're sweet. They're the delicious flavors. It's just the judgment that people can't handle. But I realized
there was this one coconut one that I tried. It was really, really good. It was a coconut flavor. I don't even know what it was called. It was really good though.
Like Malibu or something?
I'm not sure.
Well, we'll get started in just about 1 minute here, guys. So sit tight. And if you enjoy imbibing, feel free to grab a drink. This is the perfect time.
Moles.
I'm going to go ahead and offer for our early listeners an additional incentive, so do get your questions in now. The most interesting question that has voted, well, executive decision by Vex, the most interesting question gets a special prize. Mystery prize to be announced upon reveal. So do something of spicy and or interesting questions. And just keep in mind, we're not going to make anyone uncomfortable with the answers. The goal here is just to have a fun conversation, not to start drama or spill tea. So
yeah.
Just keep that in mind. Cool, in 3, 2, 1. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the official launch of the Q&A with our very own Vex. Vex, the man who needs no introduction, the server owner of Among Us crewmates, the legend, the hero, the savior of Ranked Among Us. Give it up for Vex. Woo!
I wouldn't say I'm the savior.
Savior to be. Alright. I want to see some celebration emotes in chat. Okay, so what I want to hear from you first, Vex, is how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Excellent. You know, like, scale of 1 to 10, what's your mood?
Probably about a 6 or 7.
That's it? Oh, dude,
Yeah.
I'm on an 8, at least 8, and I think it's gonna go up to 9 depending on how tonight goes. So,
Oh, I think in the event tonight, it's going to be definitely going up to a 9.
dude, tonight is such a cool agenda. I sent my wife just like a screenshot of my calendar. We've got interview with Vex here. Then we have Stumble Guys tournament, which is pumping up baddies. Go baddies!
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of competition already.
Yeah, and then finally, I'll be having a career discussion with Homework, who's a controversial figure in the community, but, you know, everyone deserves a second chance, and he wants to learn a little bit about how to advance his career. So with all that in mind, I'm excited for tonight. I hope you are too.
Yeah, I'm actually excited to see that with Homework too.
That will be potentially live streamed if he's comfortable with that, and if he's not, then you know, maybe it will be a video and we can review it offline and see if it's appropriate for YouTube, because Homework's a little bit spicy, dude. He's basically like Eminem reincarnate. Not sure if you've seen his rap about Mikey that got him banned from a certain other server.
I have seen it.
So yeah, he's got a reputation.
I've been shown quite a few videos.
Excellent. He's also the
music.
guy that joined me for the interview with 5UP. So he does have a lot of Ranked Among Us knowledge. It's interesting, this community. You get a lot of colorful characters that are passionate. But yeah, all that aside...
Colorful's a very good choice of words.
Indeed. Alright, all that aside, let's go ahead and kick off the first question. So, I had a question submitted by Luck, and we're just doing these in order that I see them. The question for you is, how difficult is it to maintain a server with over 1,000 members and to deal with all of the staff? That was asked by Luck.
So I got lucky with our staff. Our staff actually manages quite a bit of it, while most of the development gets done by me. The staff is very autonomous, so I got extremely lucky. I feel, at least. And management members help keep things in order.
Which would you say are the greatest staffing challenges that you have these days?
The greatest staffing challenges? Time zones.
So curious, like, what is the tooling like for your staff team? Do you use GCal? Do you use...
we have Google a lot to do with Google Docs, which is actually more recent. You actually got to see a lot of those. Most of those are going to be public.
Yep.
Then we use Hammer Time a lot between the staff to coordinate times to prevent confusion with time zones.
Such a great tool.
Oh, it's so amazing. We also have it integrated into our bot, so we can just literally do in so many minutes or at such time.
Amazing.
So useful.
You'll have to show me, because I keep going to the website and like entering it manually and
I'll have to show you that after. Like, it is so useful.
It'd be really great to have just like a Google Doc with cheat sheet for easy bot commands, because not very many people know how to actually set up a ranked game. Like, whenever I'm in a lobby, for some reason I get saddled with all the work of starting the match, starting the timer, starting the auto mute. Like,
we tried making it simple with making it all match, so it would just kind of guide you. I've noticed that there's a lot of confusion with that, though.
But I also didn't know like plus ranked either. There's not a lot of consistency in the format. Plus ranked also doesn't have an autocomplete. Like, there's a few things that are just not very discoverable.
The commands for pings, we're still working on making those into slash commands. Right. It's the fact that we have those set up to timers that are server-wide.
Right.
So we still have a couple that are prefixed. We're slowly integrating prefixes out.
Nice. Cool. Okay, I think we can go ahead to the second question. Thank you, Luck, for that first one. Second question comes from Ken, who is the Among Us songwriter, by the way, for anyone unfamiliar with Ken. And the question is quite poetic. I quote, "Hard times create strong crew. Strong crew create good times. Good times create weak crew. Weak crew create hard times. Do you agree? Why or why not?"
That's actually really hard to answer, but for the most part, yes, I would agree. A lot of the times that you have hard times, your crew will actually pull together. And a lot of the times that you have a good time is because you have your crew so well together. When it comes to having those good times, it tends to weaken the crew and make mistakes. And I've noticed once the smallest mistake happens amongst your crew, it tends to go really wild. One
Yeah.
crew's misspeaking can actually destroy it.
That's so true. You know, you can do a lot more damage as a bad crew, making the game much harder for the rest of the crew. Like,
Yeah.
third imping is super OP.
Yeah, well, yeah. Like, and sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between intent trolling and just being bad crew. Sometimes.
Right. Absolutely. Knowing the difference is like a key distinction. If you can tell
Yeah.
the difference between dog crew and the actual imps, you've got a huge edge. But then
Yep.
you still have to convince the rest of the weaker players that you've got the correct read and that you're not the imp yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you're playing at that level, you may also get fear voted a lot, which really sucks.
I was about to say, I've noticed it with you quite a few times. People
Right.
fear vote you.
Right, I hate that because it's just like it's a throw. It's like a bit backhanded because it's like a compliment, but at the same time, if I lost an imp game because of fear voting, it feels really bad.
Yeah.
Because it's not like they've solved the mystery. It's just like, oh, I don't want to be in a video, so goodbye.
I've also noticed when it comes to really good crews such as Sen, a lot of imps will push to get him thrown out just in case.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's like, oh, I'm not afraid if these random players are still alive, but I really don't want Sen to be imp, so I'll just vote him.
Yep.
It's a kind of a
Or I don't want Sen to give out the imp because I'm the imp.
right, kind of an unfortunate way to play. But anyway, I mean, everyone can play the way they want. There's no
Yep.
prescription on how you play Ranked Among Us. Other
Many
than trying
people
your
play
best.
mechanically now.
Yeah. If you make a case for that's the best you can play, then great, go for it. Okay, I think we'll go on to the next question. Question is from Marze, and he says, Vex, what's the craziest ticket or problem that you fixed?
I actually can't answer that.
Of
What I
course.
can say of it though is we've had some severe leaking of personal explicit photos.
Mm-hmm.
That
Those
was
are
not
very
a fun day.
unfortunate, and that's like it's
Yeah.
kind of the dark side of like running a Discord server. You'd think it's all about the game, but there's a lot of just personal issues that start coming up.
Yeah, I've even seen relationship issues come into the server too. Like those are one of the worst.
Yeah, exactly. That's tough. Like, personal dynamics are both what makes this worthwhile and also what makes it really challenging. Because it just adds a whole nother dynamic. Like, Among Us, to me, isn't really about the Jellybean game. It's about the community. Like, this is where the real magic happens, is outside of the actual game lobby. And, like, this sort of thing, like a Q&A or a Stumble Guys or, like, the Ranked Among Us chat and, you know, how people grow and improve at the game and the relationships they form. That stuff is like an RPG.
Yeah.
With IRL characters spending their real time and money just for the betterment of others and everyone's shared enjoyment. In theory. That's the
Yes.
positive
We've
framing.
seen really good times, and then we've seen really like questionable times.
Indeed. And sometimes people will dox, sometimes people will hack, or
Yep.
steal, or cheat, or lie. Or
The
like all
hacking's
sorts of
been really
problematic
easy to
things.
stop.
Yeah.
Everything else has been more complicated.
Yeah, there's a reason that the rules are there. Like,
Yeah.
just like any safety rules in a work environment are written in blood. Like, the server
Yeah.
rules are written in arrest reports and
And it's constantly updating
escalations.
based on what's going on.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, don't cross the line, guys. But yeah, cool. Let's see. I will go to the next question. Next question is completely inappropriate. So I'm gonna just like send you a DM and see if you want to answer any of these.
All right, let's see. You can ask those.
All right, let's try it. Number 1, do you believe Wavito hacked?
I do believe that he has a history with something. However, we do not have any evidence, and that's. We also have the forgiveness clause within the server that after a certain period, we have invoked everything after the creation point. So anybody that's broken rules or done things in the past, we've tried to give a fair slate or a fair, clean slate.
You would say that as a leader, you show mercy.
Yep. Sometimes it's really hard to, and sometimes you don't want to. Not in this case, but
Yeah, I've struggled
in
with that
other
myself.
ones.
For instance, XPC. This guy,
Yeah.
I had a lot of personal issues with him. Right before a tournament with a $1,000 prize. And I was very biased against him as a result of all the harassment he had done with me. And so I was basically saying I'm going to withhold my sponsorship from the tournament if that guy's allowed to play. Looking back on that, I'm not sure if that was the most mature decision by me. Like, it might have been a little bit of just pushing my own agenda and forcing the issue. I probably could have been a little bit more compassionate. That guy's probably quite young. He deserves a second chance.
I noticed there's times I'm even biased.
Yeah, and like, bias is really hard to combat because you have to look past your emotions. You have to look to the person behind the words. It's difficult for me when people start going after my kids. That is like a whole nother level of crossing the line, but I still have to understand that they themselves are often kids and still trying to find their way in the world. So it's really tough, you know?
And some people just, they speak with their emotions and don't even think what they're saying.
Exactly. There's a lot of thinking with their ego as opposed to really showing empathy. And empathy takes like a long time to develop. It's not something that people are often
I'm pretty horrible
prioritizing
for empathy.
Not so easy.
Yeah, I'm not very empathetic. Clinically psychopath.
Yo, I had some mental health challenges over the last year. And at some point I thought I was perhaps bipolar, right? And so when I was in what I identified as manic episodes, I also found myself quite unhinged, and that like led to loss of inhibitions. And as a result, I probably also crossed the line a little bit in terms of how I treated people. So apologies to anyone that was affected by that. Like, that's not okay. It's not good for me to be exerting that frustration out on everyone else. And it was fun. I mean, it's very enjoyable to be in a state of mania, but it's very double-edged. So
yeah. And it's a good thing that you actually recognize it too, because like that's one of the hardest things to actually overcome. Like, for me, example, when it comes to like knowing that I'm not a very good empath, I've always focused on having others who are around me to sit there and be like, no, like this needs to happen. And I noticed that I'm more of the authoritative one, where I'll kind of hold back and wait till they need it, and then that's when I'll push through.
Yep. Yo, I'm seeing a lot more questions coming through in DMs. It seems like this is picking up. I'm going to get to the questions one at a time, but we still have a few from this list of spicy ones. Next two questions were, why do you make up lies? And then a related question, why are you untrustworthy and leak everything? By the way, I disagree with the premise of these questions, just to be clear, but I'm just relaying them as stated by a user that I've never heard of before, Bunpiss. So
I'm not sure what they're even referring to.
I have no idea either, but feel free to take those.
If they had any follow-up to like a particular one, I could answer it.
Sure. So
don't
Bunpiss,
really
if you're
know.
listening, feel free to like clarify your question. He claims, he or she, I guess they, Bunpiss claims Vex is not how he seems. It's not that you were able to release some of what you hold back. He knows. So I don't know who this Bunpiss character is or like what's going on there, but I guess my advice to you, Bunpiss, is like maybe chat with Vex offline, because we don't know what you're talking about and it doesn't really sort of give us any insight if you just act all vague and circuitous.
Yeah, I don't really know what it's referring to.
Yeah, I'm just going to move on to the next question. So Pickles asks, it's not really phrased as a question, but I'm going to invent the question based on what was typed. Mindset on haxing and doxing I'm trying to return. I'm going to go ahead and read between the lines and say Pickles is probably a reformed cheater or trying to become a reformed cheater. What is your advice to those trying to come back into the light?
Sorry, repeat the question?
The question is, for those who have lost their way, how do they return to the herd?
In regards to like cheating and hacking and
Yes.
doxing,
Yep. Those who have sinned, how do they find the light?
so with each circumstance, we've given a clean slate to everybody from the time that we created onward. However, we do have very strict probationary periods for certain ones that are in extreme levels. Each one's kind of determined based on the circumstances, and we try to accommodate what actually happened into what we implement for the probation.
Makes
Some
sense.
have longer than others.
Oh, I've heard, by the way, on this crimes and punishment topic, which I'm deeply passionate about. You know, if I could have a fun role, it would be like Among Us criminal justice attorney or something like that, right? Criminal defense attorney. I think that would be so fun. But I would love to see like an Among Us courtroom, you know, where we talk about the crimes and then we go through evidence and so on.
We were making jokes about that actually
Wouldn't it be
just the
so
other
fun?
day.
You know, in VR, I love VR. I work for Meta, so I have the headsets. You know, I've done Horizon Worlds, all that. One of the worlds is called Horizon or Meta Court, and it's a virtual courtroom, and someone role plays as judge, someone's the attorney, someone's like the accused, and it's so fun. Like you role play, it's like doing improv, and you go through a mock trial. We could do that
Well,
with Among
a
Us.
little insight to how our team works.
Uh-huh.
We actually kind of do a trial
Nice.
and have someone represent their defense and someone represent the prosecution. Like it's not exactly a trial,
Be
but
still my
that's how we
beating heart.
debate a lot of our things.
This is too juicy. I love that idea. Count me
Well,
in.
we do that because we do believe that everybody deserves some
A fair
sort of
trial.
defense.
It's like the whole penal system and justice and all that. Among Us
So-
lawyers, right? Like you should have interviews for lawyers. That's funny.
We
Okay.
have some achievement roles in the server too.
There's so many fun tangents we can go on, but I'm just going to go to the next question because we have so many coming in. Luck asks, who is the worst Among Us player you have played with?
Luck, you already know it's you, man. I've seen you throw so many games.
Do we want to invite Luck on stage for a second to defend himself in Among Us?
Yes, let him defend himself.
Alright. Luck, you're invited onto stage.
Okay, Max. That is totally false. Like seriously, that
There's
is
a reason
Musk.
why we called you the biggest throw.
That is 100% Musk. Come on.
Luck,
Love you,
this
buddy.
Isn't
I'm
the
not
first
that
time
bad.
you've been hard accused of being a thrower. Do you plead not guilty?
No, this is not the first time. I got my own rule.
Indeed. Do you have any evidence to prove your innocence? Because in the court of Among Us, you are guilty until proven innocent.
Nah.
How does the jury stand?
Okay, we'll do a poll in chat. Is
Uh,
Luck the worst? And we'll go ahead and add some
There you go.
ticks.
Oh,
Okay.
somebody defended him.
We have 3
Dang.
ticks. We'll go ahead and add an X as well, just for the sake of fairness.
Yeah, I agree. Unicat's the worst.
Is there any
I'm
way to
hopping
pin
off.
my text? There's not, is there?
Not in these channels, actually.
That's a bummer. That's
It's
a
a shame.
feature to consider. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next question. So thanks for joining us. Oh, he already went to the audience of his own accord, or maybe you did that.
No, that was him.
Great. Okay, next question comes from an anonymous asker. And the question is, how do you feel about donators for prize pools?
So, the donations do help us, especially with being able to improve things further, because we don't have everything that we need going forward. Also, when it comes to prize pools, it really does help amplify the size of the prize. I'm not opposed to it. We're still trying to figure out how we want to do this. It's something that we want to balance in a way that it's not like hindering the prize pools or the donations going towards getting development even further.
I think at the moment you use that coffee thing. Is that
Yeah, Ko-Fi.
Ko-Fi? And then
And it supports both donations and subscriptions.
who is your treasurer at the moment?
Me.
Okay, so you handle it all yourself.
Yeah, at the
Fair enough.
moment.
Do you find it's like
It's pretty automated.
It's automated. Okay, so it's not like taking a lot of your time away.
No.
That's good. Okay, we'll move on to... Actually, there's a follow-up question there. Follow-up question is, what's the amount, like a threshold that would help? And or is there an amount that would lead to sort of like a voting interest, like having a say who participates in things? That's been an issue in previous servers where donators haven't really had a say, and they've felt like their money was going towards cheaters and hackers. So how do you balance that?
So we're actually trying to look into a few different methods. I can't reveal the methods that we're looking into. We do want to make sure that the contributors and donators do get a say. That is something we are guaranteeing, but
Great.
we're not disclosing how we're doing that yet.
Okay, so that's TBD.
Yeah.
I guess my advice would be when someone donates past a certain threshold, you may want to like have a conversation with them, just so
Yeah.
they're clear on expectations of what amount of influence they have.
That's a big thing that like we want to make sure though, is that the amount of influence, we're trying to figure out where that threshold is still.
Yeah.
So that's one of the big things we're still discussing on our end.
It really is a balance, because you don't want it
Yeah.
to be entirely controlled by donators, and at the same time you don't want them to stop donating. So you just have to
Yep.
strike that balance.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna go to the next question. Okay, I'm gonna ignore any questions about AUL, just for everyone's context. And for that reason, there's nothing else in that DM about this particular topic. Okay, there was a question here that says, I've been banned for a year plus. How can I redeem myself from hacking repeatedly and still want to hack? I can even help with coding to prevent future cheats. This is actually a very common tendency where criminals often like to become either confidential informants or potential...
So I was one of those.
Yeah, a CI, or sometimes helping the FBI by like it takes one to know one type of deal.
I was one of those when I was a kid,
Great.
actually.
In terms of
I
IRL.
started out as a hacker. Yeah, in real life.
Wow.
I started out as a hacker, and I worked for our local police department
Way to go.
afterwards.
That's awesome. Man.
So I do understand that.
Yeah.
We do have a dev server that's private that we are allowing people to attempt to hack. This is not punishable. This is allowing us to gather information and constantly improve our anti-cheat.
Cool.
And we're actually trying to figure out ways for benefits and perks for those who help us get it.
Nice. I believe that's called White Hat.
Yes.
Cool. That's really awesome, man. I'm glad that you have that program, because that could really help. There's a lot of cheaters, especially in communities that attract young, egotistical individuals, because everyone wants to prove they're like hot shit. But unfortunately, they don't always have the skill to back it up, so they take the shortcut of just cheating.
Yeah.
It's the temptation, you know, people get quote-unquote bored, and so they just cheat. And, you know, that's unfortunate because it gets them banned and there's consequences, and then they want to come back because they miss their friends. And, you know, I
A
think there
lot
should
of
be a path.
experienced hackers, too, also have that pride mentality of, I managed to get past this.
Exactly. There's a certain level of accomplishment if you manage to cheat without getting detected, because that
Yep.
gives you a lot of notoriety and a lot of street cred. And it's
Yep.
like an accomplishment. You know, you've
And
circumvented the police.
Well, that's why we also made a safe environment for that section, which is not counted in actual bot stats.
Yeah.
We have that separate intentively to allow them to attempt it. And obviously, if we know it doesn't get caught, we know that there's one out there and we're getting information about how to improve it.
So for anyone that is a criminal that's wanting to be reformed, I recommend for now just reaching out to Vex. If that doesn't scale,
Privately.
yeah, reach out in DMs. If that's not scaling, you know, Vex will make some announcement about a different process, but there's not too many of such candidates that I know of, so let's give that a try.
And
See
we'll
how
be
it
keeping
goes.
it private to those who actually want to participate with that too.
Okay, we'll go to the next question. Let's see. There's one question which says, who's the best player in your opinion? Which I think is actually addressed to me. I will still have to say Saitama. I've yet to see someone who's reached his level of fame and clout and respect.
I actually have not met him.
Okay, so just think One Punch Man, the anime, but then as an Among Us character. So people just sheep for his vote, and he wins tournaments, and then he sort of just like moved on and did other things. But anyway, he's a great player. And
There was this
then-
particular member I probably would have picked out, but recently discovered to be hacking.
I see. In terms of like who would be hardest to get screen time with, it's probably Disguised Toast, just in
Disguised
terms of
Toast.
fame.
Yeah.
I can't think of someone more famous that has played this game to a high level.
Between 5UP and him, I've managed to get like 8 or 9 different video calls with 5UP, and then Toast, I've had a total of 7 minutes,
Nice.
and he's just been that busy. And I was just like, well, and I'm trying to get like opinions and like advice on what improvements could be done, and it's really hard to get time with him.
That's actually cracked that you managed to speak to Toast. How did that happen?
It was a whole 7 minutes of I need to schedule this later. I have not been able
What a
to
waste of
since.
time. Man, what?
It was worth a shot.
What did he end up saying? Did you ever like follow up, or it just all fell through the cracks?
It was mainly just trying to schedule at that time was been really hard because during that time I was actually over in Australia at the time, so I was on nights.
I see.
So it was really, really hard.
Yeah, you achieved what I was not able to. I'm proud of you, all the same, even if it was like a few minutes of just, this is a scheduling
7
conflict.
minutes of fame, and then it was just never again.
Dude, that's 7 minutes in heaven. That's like a high school
That's
game.
what I called it.
That's so funny. Love it. Someone in chat says, I met Obama for 7 minutes. Okay, I mean, like, we should have shout-outs from chat. Who's the most famous person you've met? Mine is Bill Gates. I've met him 3 times on the tennis court. But yeah, I'd love to hear
Elon
people's
Musk.
celebrity meetup stories. And in the
I
meantime,
met Elon Musk once in
you
Texas.
did meet Elon. Wow.
Yep.
All right, so I've got Zuck.
Never got to speak to him though.
Zuck is my CEO, and I've met him. But then so have a lot of employees. I ran into him on campus. But yeah, we'll see if that cage match happens, right? Yeah, good times. Okay, we're going to go to the next question, which is, will there be a tier list?
We do plan to have a tier list. We're probably going to have it a community vote. We might have it either a donator vote or a community vote on who's going to control the tier list at the end of the seasons.
Okay. If you had executive say, who would it be?
Executive say? I actually don't know who I would pick.
Okay, fair enough.
I couldn't
wait and
pick
see
a
what the
specific
community
person at this
decides.
moment.
Yeah. Okay, and there's also a request for you to give your vote for best player.
Yeah, I would probably give mine at the end of the first season.
Okay. Yeah, I like that because this season has been pretty scuffed. Let's not lie.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
many
it's
people
been
have
a beta,
commented
and
on-
it's a really, really
Yeah.
gross beta.
The math on the bot is not quite up to
No.
par. Yeah.
But we do have that improved, and I'm going to be announcing in the next couple days what day we're testing that.
I like it. Gonna go over the next question. What are your opinions on modded Among Us? Specifically not modded ranked, but just modded Among Us.
I've actually played a lot of modded. I used to play a lot of modded very frequently with Dread. Dread plays it daily.
Dread Simp?
Yeah, the Simp Pack.
Yes. So I played modded with them while I was like testing the waters to see which factions to go with.
Yeah, I was trying to help you out with some of the roles because you had no idea.
I was lost, but you know, I have mad respect for Dreadwolf. That guy's great. I just couldn't bring myself to join a faction that was based around one individual. I much prefer being part of a community that's more inclusive, and you know, I liked what I saw with Baddies. I did also check out All Stars. LJ's a great guy. I just feel All Stars is dead. It's unfortunately just not very active. So.
Sadly, a lot of people do. And LJ is a good guy, it's just... he's quiet.
Oh, I had a fantastic conversation with him. We spoke for an hour straight, and it was fire. Really, really great opinions, great discussion. He's passionate about education of Among Us, just like me. So I think there's like potential for doing like Among Us elementary, high school, and university, and doing lectures.
That's all his department, and he's setting
coaching.
all of that up with you.
I'm there. You know, if I had like FIRE money, meaning like financially independent, retire early, I think my passion would be going and doing tutoring and lecturing and teaching, and you know, what better subject than Among Us right now. But, you know, I also have helped people in the Among Us community with like their math homework and this sort of stuff. So, by the way, if you're trying to do math homework, just look no further than Wolfram Alpha, which will solve any math problem for you, with including all the work through. So yeah, GG's. Cool. Alright, we're going to go to the next question. What kind of motorcycle do you ride?
A Harley Davidson 93 Heritage style.
Interesting. How did you get into riding motorcycles?
I grew up around them. I was around them since I was a very little kid. My dad was all about them. My godfather was all about them. My grandparents were all about them. So it's through the family.
Very cool.
Mine was actually handed down to me.
Have you ever had any near misses?
I've had accidents and one near miss because of a mistake of my own. I was still young and learning, and basically a cat ran out into the street, and me trying to be that person not to kill it, tried to
Huge
dodge,
mistake.
and I hit into a tree.
That's funny. My wife has been explicitly instructed by her driving instructor at the time when she
Just
was
scream it.
learning. Always hit the cat. Always hit the
Just
bunny.
kidding.
It really sucks, but you have to not swerve because you'll do way more harm and hit a person if you do that.
Yep.
And you're going to feel a lot worse saving the cat and killing a person. So
I broke my leg and my ribs and my arm
Yeah.
because of it.
Yeah,
It was not worth it.
it's brutal, but it's triage. You have to favor human life over animals in these extreme circumstances.
Yep.
Okay, I'll go to the next question. What are your thoughts on Froggington? Very cryptic.
Okay, so Froggington is the mini golf course, I'm assuming.
I have no context, so this is all you, man.
I believe it's about the mini golf, and I actually don't remember which course that is.
If it helps, the question's from George.
I actually don't remember which course it is. I'm sorry, George.
Okay, well, George, if you want to come on stage, feel free to DM me and you can clarify your question. In the meantime, we'll move on. Question from Luck is it possible to train him? And then the same question goes to me. So I'll let you take first dibs on this.
Is it possible to train him in ranked
I
in
assume
general?
I assume it's about ranked Among Us, or like Among Us skill. If that's not the case, Luck, feel free to clarify. But assuming that it is about Among Us, what would be your answer?
He's typing right now. I'll just give him a second.
Okay, well, I'll answer assuming he means Among Us, because in a game he did say that he would like me to be his coach. And then he saw me, troll in a meeting, and he said, I take it back, I don't want you to be my coach. And then he saw me
Me
give a bunch of
personally-
hard clears in several games, and he's like, okay, maybe you do know what you're talking about. Or like, I was talking about standing max distance away from tasks and this sort of thing. So I think he realized I do know how to play the game a little bit.
Me personally, Luck, I don't think that I'm the best person to teach. I play probably subpar, maybe even just a little bit lower, in my opinion.
I'm very impressed with your imp. That's, I think, your superpower, more so than your crew.
I'm confident as imp, but
Yeah.
that's where I get overconfident sometimes.
Confidence is actually very important as an imposter, in my opinion, because you can control the meeting and you can deflect questions. Because it turns out that being compelled to speak makes you look guilty and reveals information, and as an imposter you have to lie about your pathing if you did the kill. So you're
My
like,
thing with crew
yeah.
is I overthink it sometimes.
Yes,
and it's
that's so
because
easy
I
to do.
have photographic memory that's planning where everybody's going, and I overthink it sometimes.
Yep, I've been victim of that so many times, and like clogging as crew is so tempting, and you can actually fuck up the game by doing it.
Yep. Sometimes it's better just be quiet unless you know that you have important information.
A funny and very salient memory with me and Prior involves Prior asking me one question and me giving my entire pathing and clogging as crew, and there was like a whole meme image made about it with Prior getting all frustrated, be like, I asked this guy one question, he's chatting the most waffle or whatever.
I remember
So
that
funny.
meme actually.
If someone has the meme, paste it in chat. It's a good one. There's several memes. I sometimes look over my favorite images from Among Us days. Good memories, good times. Another fun one. Yeah, I think someone's found the GIF. Strangers. Oh, that's the GIF of Pryor getting frustrated. There's someone that did a text overlay of that one that has the specific reference to me. So if you happen to find it, do share because it's a funny one. And then there's another meme of 5-Up lore. I'll find that some other time. I don't want to derail the conversation too much. Anyway, coming back to questions, we didn't hear from Luck specifically. Luck, do you want to come stage for a sec? We'll go ahead and invite you.
Hello.
Okay, Luck, so specifically, what do you want coaching on?
I said it in chat.
Yeah, he said ranked
Among
among
Us.
us.
Yeah,
were
but
right.
like, okay, what are your growth areas?
I didn't think this through.
Okay, I'll give you some advice. The person that knows you best is yourself. You are actually the world's leading expert on Lock Grime. And for that reason, you are the most qualified to self-reflect on your strengths and weaknesses. We can review your draft, but you should write down what you think your growth areas are. If you're not yet self-aware enough to know them, ask people for feedback after you've played a game. Take some recordings of your game, and then show them to someone and have them critique it, because they're going to spot a lot of things that you miss. Most likely your pathing is dog. If you're dying first, your pathing sucks. There's no excuse for dying on Death Node ever.
My main thing with Luck is you need to learn when to just listen.
That's a big one.
I always listen.
It's really hard too.
If you
But
speak more than 20% of the
always do.
meeting, you're clogging.
Oh wait, I barely speak in the meetings. I'll be honest there.
And that can be a
I've
problem
seen
too.
you overspeak
if you don't
sometimes, and it's
speak-
just sometimes.
If you
I
don't speak
overspeak
enough, if you
sometimes,
withhold
but I
critical
underspeak
information,
sometimes.
you're throwing. And if you speak too much, you're also throwing. And Vanellis thinks he's got some strong opinions on the subject. Does Vanellis want to come on stage?
Yeah, actually, I'm open to hear his statement on that one.
Alright, let's hear.
I'm wondering what party's saying false for.
Yeah, let's have him clarify. Okay. Vanellis, you're
Not
muted. Go ahead and
gonna.
unmute.
I agree with you, Dread.
Hello.
Go ahead and leave
Hello.
the meeting, Vanellis. We're all for you.
Okay. So some of the times when you have to lead a meeting, or let's say the meeting opens up and it's a 50-50 between two people, and you have to, well, what number are you speaking? Like 20% of the meeting when there's 8 people alive, or
Obviously,
what?
I was throwing out a pretty arbitrary number that doesn't apply in every situation. I was just seeding the conversation by saying you shouldn't clog.
Okay, yeah, no, I fully agree. I hate clogging. It's probably one of my least favorite things that happens in almost every lobby. I think what a good topic to discuss would be, is clogging preventable consistently in a server?
Oh, it just has a solution that's so controversial. And that's
Okay, what's your take on
mechanical
that?
muting.
Lex
Wow.
bugs all the time. Trust me.
Imagine if the meeting started with whoever reports the body or pushes the button gets the stage, like Q&A style, and they speak for the first 10 seconds, no one else can interrupt, and then it's open.
We're actually
Imagine
working on that.
Imagine that.
We're working on that for the first 15 seconds of discussion time.
To me, it is a beautiful, beautiful world, and for some people it's so scary. I want to try it. And Ken is a fan too. I see that support. Shout out to Ken. You know what, Ken? Just for that, I'm gonna write another song about you. Another tribute
You can
to
do
Ken.
it for the karaoke night.
Exactly. I should do that for karaoke night. Unfortunately, karaoke was scheduled by Dreadwolf at a time when I'm in a family dinner. So, not to make it more about me, but yeah, Vanellis and Luck, if you guys are done with this topic, I think we'll move to the next question. If we're cool with that. Alright. And let's go ahead and get... okay, so George clarifies his Froggington comment. It's not about a golf course. It's actually one of his alter egos. So basically he's asking you to give a bit of an opinion on George. George, by the way, does have a fan club server, which I recently joined. So he's an influential
Yes,
figure in the
I think I
community.
was actually in that. I think.
Do you wanna,
Uh,
like just an opinion? Give
George-
opine a bit about George. Yeah.
You have a very interesting, meaningful choice of how you do things. You like to just randomly leave and join every day. I think you have definitely the most welcome messages.
One thing about George that I'll say is that he's incredibly wholesome, and
He
he
is.
has like some very wise, sage advice, like wise beyond his years. Like I remember hearing some on-point advice from George one time about ranked, which is don't play so many games. Just play when you're on top of your game, and when you're feeling tired or run down, don't play. Just
get
play some
sleep.
casual, like play some
Yeah.
stumble guys. Don't play ranked. Only play ranked when you're at your peak. That's the way to do it.
That is the way to do it. And a lot of people like to exhaust themselves for like 12, 15 hours.
By the way, for everyone spamming chat with questions for me, it's not really scalable. If you don't mind just DMing me your questions, that way I don't have too many ways to look at questions incoming. I'd appreciate that. Thanks. Okay, we'll move on to the next question from one of your developers, XSol.
Mhm.
He wants you to tell him your favorite power-up from Putt Party and why you're sadistic about it. I'm just going to give a quick shout-out to Vanellis for inviting me to all the Putt Party games and various party games like Jackbox over in his server. So yeah, shout-out to them. But yeah, go ahead and tell me, what's your favorite power-up?
Sticky balls. Or sticky walls.
Yes,
Sticky
so
walls
funny.
is so good. Or even the vortex bumper.
So
I like
evil.
getting in the hole and then just dropping it on top of the hole.
Yes. Brutal. Love it, love it.
I like doing it exactly when Soul's trying to do it.
So funny. Okay, there's a question from our favorite character, Dreadwolf. He says, who are the best gaslighters in AUC and why? Giving your top 5.
Top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I can definitely say first place is Dread. He has a way with words and making it convincing.
Nice. Love that.
Another gaslighter I gotta give credit to is definitely you, Bricknick. You've gotten me 3 times. Maddie, she sounds so sweet and innocent, and you never know when she's actually gaslighting you. Like, there's been so many times that she'll sit there and say, like, I was over here, you seen me, and like, and I have photographic memory, and it's tricking my own brain.
Love it. It's so funny when you can convince people that they didn't see what they saw. I remember one time reporting a body in comms, and the person had walked in on me, so I was looking so guilty, I just claim it's in Spessy hallway. And like they're like, wait, I saw you in comms, right? And I'm like, no, I'm in Spessy hallway. And then they got gaslit into thinking they saw someone else. It was amazing. But it's very hard to like take that chance because you've got to just lie through your teeth and not crack a smile. Super, super tough. Okay.
Another one that's gotten me was definitely Sen.
Nice.
Sen's gotten me quite a few times.
Awesome. Alright, we're going to move to the next question, which comes from Vanillas, and he says, what is the single greatest quality you can have as a crewmate in your opinion?
Single greatest quality, memory. Memory and precision on timing. Those would be the one of the two. As long as you have one of those good ones, yes.
Are you perhaps biased based on that's your superpower?
No, I find that it's most people will give the wrong timing that makes me think that it's such a superpower.
So I'm just going to go ahead and pull up my own content. I'm sure you've seen this video, but the Among Us theory...
Yes.
Yeah, because there's a crucial slide in here which talks about the qualities of crewmates, and voted immediately. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that onto screen and see if you agree that there are perhaps more important qualities. So the qualities for those unfamiliar are reliability, reads, game sense, and memory. So I'll make this camera a bit smaller. So you've said memory is the most important. I disagree. Like,
The only reason why I think it is because like so many crewmates that provide incorrect information based on their memory, it tends to be a problem.
but look how bad you can be if your reliability sucks. You shoot with the
Yes,
imp.
yes, reliability is definitely important.
You
It's
button
just-
away bodies, and you don't do
Okay.
tasks as a ghost.
That's a lot of crew members right now.
Yeah,
That's
dude,
like
the
you have
number
no
of
idea how
crew
many crew
losses
members
due
right now.
to a ghost who goes and does some random game instead of actually doing their tasks, and then doesn't admit it, is
Yes.
so annoying. I would rather someone forget their own info rather than not do tasks as a ghost. That's my
Yes.
hot take.
I didn't think about that part.
Exactly, man. Like,
If you're talking about dead and alive crew, yes, reliability.
because someone who doesn't do their tasks as a ghost actually loses the whole game single-handedly. Whereas forgetting, you know, who you saw kill or whatever, we can figure it out without you. Even though you are like really bad, we can still do it in spite of you. But no one can do your tasks for you. It's literally impossible. The only way is to vote kick you, and that's like not even in the game anymore. I think they removed vote kick. So like,
Yes, they did.
it's disgusting how overpowered it is to not do your tasks. Anyway, coming back to questions from the audience, we're gonna go with a follow-up question. Why did you clear the imp in Comms in Blaze? So this is like a very specific game. I don't know if you remember that one.
I don't remember that one, to be honest.
Okay.
Who's asking the
This
question?
is from Vanellas.
Why did I clear the imp in Blaze in comms?
I think that we just don't have enough context on this question, Van. So maybe just like pull up the VOD.
Who was it
sometime.
that I cleared?
If you pull up the VOD sometime, I'm happy to look it over, and you know we can laugh about how bad Vex is at the game. But anyway, I'm sure I have terrible.
I make a lot of
throws as well.
mistakes.
I have so many.
I make a
mistakes,
lot
man.
of mistakes.
That's the best thing because every throw helps you grow.
Yes.
Every time you lose, that's an opportunity to learn. And you've got to really reflect on what you did wrong and admit your own mistakes. It's so tempting to just flame everyone else in a lobby, but I challenge every single player, after you lose a crew game, instead of flaming other people, write down on a notepad what you did wrong, because I guarantee you did not play perfectly. Because
Yeah,
it's
as I say,
literally
I don't
impossible.
think I've ever seen
It is
anyone play perfectly.
impossible to play perfectly. Like, the game is not solved. Despite 5UP claiming the game is solved, it's not. It is possible to play this game at, like, tool-assisted level, and you are not playing at tool-assisted level. I promise you, you are not. Okay. Next question comes from our Eminem reincarnate homework. He insists on being let in to speak, which I'm a little bit hesitant on, honestly, because I may get my channel demonetized. But his further questions, he says he'll be chill, and he has been chill in front of 5UP. So I vote yes if you're cool with it.
I'm open to let you do it. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it up to you.
Homework, I'm taking a chance on you, man. Don't get me kicked off Twitch. Cool.
Hello, testing. Is my microphone stream ready?
Oh, you're working,
it is.
man. Don't
Listen,
don't mess up
I'm
this
sorry.
opportunity.
Go ahead, yeah. I was just getting a little bit anxious because I'm me, Aspect, I think, and Sen are the three people with the most hours in Ranked Among Us. Like,
What is your
that's
total
including-
hours played in the game, Homework?
Well, listen, I would probably approximate it to around 4,000, but I used to AFK open it. It is currently held at like around 10,000 hours on Among Us.
Wow.
Because I used to never close it, so it's probably about 4K playing the game. But
Unreal.
yeah, that was the first thing I wanted to
That
say.
is
yeah.
insane.
Okay, so now that we've established your credentials, some of your
Mhm.
questions that you asked in DMs. How am I
Yeah.
not the leader
Oh,
of
go
Ranked
ahead, yeah.
Among Us? I have many opinions on that. AUPL
Sure,
is
sure.
the future, you guys are years behind. Hard disagree.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Sure,
you know,
absolutely.
if you want to respond to those first, Vex, go ahead.
So the first thing, me being the leader of Ranked Among Us. Well, if you notice people putting clans in the name ever, that was actually me and Sosa, or it originated with us. Among Us MMR, which is the place that I came from, like you can basically think of it as a different nationality. It is the best and only actual like very competitive ranked server I would say ever. I think it was the only like community that was so driven to be good that we got to that peak level of gameplay. And I would say there are plenty of games that were played like I would say they're perfect in the way, like as perfect as you can get, because I don't want the argument to be like, oh well, they could have done one mess up. I would say they were as perfect as like they needed to be. What was the second question you wanted me to catch?
The MMR
I
system?
actually, just because your
Oh,
ego
yeah,
is
go ahead.
your ego is so enormous, I actually addressed the question to Vex, and you completely missed that. But
So-
no, I was just blasting music because I was getting
In
annoyed because
regards
he
It-
said
it's
something.
not surprising to me because, you know, Homework, the thing about being as egotistic as you are is
Yeah, that's what you think, isn't it?
you actually don't wait for someone else to say what they want to
Yeah,
say.
yeah. Listen. I'm not even gonna wait for you to finish that sentence. And it's really upsetting. I'll explain sort of the dichotomy of it. Right? It's kind of like watching a bunch of old people in a nursing home like scramble around trying to play chess when you literally invented it. Like you're fucking like. Imagine. Oh, sorry. Can I say that? Probably not. My bad.
That's
Just
okay. A
scratch
little
that.
bit of swearing is
But yeah.
okay, but just like
Yeah. So
keep it chill.
yeah, I'll tone it down. I'll try not to do it again. But basically, like imagine the native chess players having frolicking in the sand, having a great time, inventing this game, and it looks strange to these outsiders.
Yep.
And two white people who are over 30 years old go on stream and start explaining to you how it works. Like that's
I
how
could
it feels to
understand
me.
that would be frustrating. The thing is, Homework,
Yeah.
the same is
And it
true.
goes both ways. It goes both ways. Yeah, I
The
agree.
same is true in terms of life experience. Like I'm
For sure.
probably significantly older than you are,
You are
more well versed in political matters and like how
for
to
sure.
conduct
We're
yourself.
more well versed in probably everything, just wisdom-wise. I agree.
And for that reason, it can be frustrating to speak with someone who thinks they're hot shit, but actually still
Yeah.
has a lot to learn.
Yeah, we
Although
both
I'll
think that.
admit, I'll admit that like
I
when it
definitely
comes
thought
to-
that way.
When it
Back
comes to
then.
skill in the game, you way outstrip the two of us put together. Like we don't hold a candle.
Yeah,
and
yeah. That's
okay.
why it's sure. Yeah, go ahead.
That's
I never.
okay. That's
you never
why I
claimed,
was
so-
so happy that you joined the call with 5UP because you could
Mhm.
actually go toe to toe with him and have an
Yes, yes.
informed conversation and
Yes.
really convince him to come and play ranked with us. And
I do think I was crucial in that. Yeah, I do.
it really, to me, showed that the game can be played at a very high level beyond what a typical streamer is capable of,
Mhm.
and that there's a lot more to learn about the game than many people thought was possible. So,
Would you like me to kind of explain kind of what AUPL is supposed to be and why it's more in the future, sort of?
You know, you can do
Um,
that. I think it.
I don't
gets-
need to advertise it in like the Among Us.
Yeah,
crewmates
it gets a
thing.
little bit into the self-promo
Yeah.
thing, so maybe just like cap it at
Yeah,
1 minute.
I'll explain. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll just explain briefly what like the ideals are. So FX, which is my clan, stands for Formula X. We have a lot of people. It is the biggest Among Us clan, I think, just by how many people had it in their name. NRX used to be pretty big, and those clans all came from MMR as well. But basically, FX is like a movement. NRX was the Dark Enlightenment, which is a philosophical movement that me and Sosa created. So it all starts with me and Sosa, but then if you go further back, it's different. What AUPL is supposed to be is sort of just this place where there's no rules, but I control everything. These moderators will control things. It's a very, I would say, pseudo-anarchist state. So even in some lobbies, hacking will be allowed, but we'll also have like ways to combat that. Maybe in the middle of the game, we'll have to screen share them, and if they're hacking, they might get some sort of problem. You know, I just want like this. We have 2v2s there. We have 4v4s. We're in the very early stages. This thing has only been created a few days ago, but AUPL as a whole has been going for I think a few months. Me and Jasper started it. But yeah, if you want me to stop saying anything about it,
You
then-
got 5 seconds left of your minute.
5 seconds. FX on top. Yo, we run this, and we don't like Dior.
All right, we're gonna kick you out from the call. Thank
Oh,
you
totally.
so much.
Yeah,
Homework.
well, can I say a final goodbye to you, Bricknick, and then I'll
Yes.
just step out?
It's been amazing having
Um,
you in the community. Like I don't think
Mhm.
it would be anywhere near as cool without you.
Yes,
And like
Yeah,
you are
super-
such an important member of the ecosystem. Keep up the good
the
work.
ecosystem as
Yes,
well.
of the ecosystem. I love that.
The
Dude,
Yeah,
ecosystem.
No, I won't lie. Listen, I don't have an ego. I just have these things
Of
that I'll
course you
put
do.
in my
You
head.
can be proud of your ego, man. That's fine.
I'm just a robot. I'm
It's
just
not
a
bad to
robot.
have one.
You're
Listen,
self-aware.
I'll go-
Back it up,
that's
what you
fine.
I'll go out like this. Listen, I call myself the AI, like the Allen Iverson of Among Us, because like I'm like for pound, I'm the best player, and I'm also like just a robot. That's what I
Homework,
was saying.
I have one final closing thought for you.
For
which
sure,
is
absolutely.
We need to schedule a rap battle, dude.
Oh, I already just cleared Mikey. Yeah. If you go to my server, I'm not gonna advertise it, but there's a link
I
to
know
it.
I'm going to lose to you, and I don't care. I want to get
Yeah.
schooled.
Oh, you might get me. I know you like karaoke just as much as
When I'm in a
Among
manic
Us.
episode, I'm so down. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
yeah. If you get there, you might see if something might come out of you. You might just be like,
Yeah,
Yo,
yeah.
it's
There's like a
yeah.
trade-off there, but anyway.
I gotta see that.
I look
Yeah,
forward
yeah,
to
so-
it, man.
No, if anyone's ever down to just like chill with me, by the way, my DMs are always open. Yeah,
Let's get it happening. Love it.
I'm Homework on Discord. I'm Buko. Like,
Yo,
you can
shout
find me.
out to Kuj Mania.
Shout out Cooge Mania, man.
Yeah,
like
shout
shout out. Particularly the Mania part right now.
Yeah,
Cooge comes in.
exactly. Yeah, that Mental Health Alliance is going strong, man. Let's do it.
But yeah, it's all about it. We're trying to help everyone out. That's what it's all about.
Exactly. All right,
Shout out George,
we're gonna
man.
move on. Thanks so much,
Shout
Homework.
out Infinity. Shout out Sadie's, my OGs, bro.
Take
Catch
care.
y'all later, bro.
Peace.
Nice to see you, Breaknik.
Bye bye.
You're doing good shit, but I'm just a little. Oh, sorry. I'm just a little scared.
Love it. See
Sorry.
ya.
It's
Okay, like Homework brings just a whole different level of energy. There's several
He
people at
does.
my work that have more energy than me, which I'm always like, wow. So it gets higher. And there's like a lot of people in Among Us that are like that, and Homework is like S tier energy. Love it, love it.
Yes.
So passionate. Love that about him. Okay, we're gonna go to the next question. We've got 5 minutes left in the Q&A, guys, so do get in those final questions, and Vex, start thinking about your favorite questions so far, because I'm now gonna announce the prize. It's free Nitro to the favorite question. And only non-anonymous questions are eligible for the prize. Sorry about that for the anonymous askers. But just to make it a little bit more publicity, we're going to go ahead and award the prize to a non-anonymous asker. So do think about that, Vex. And in the meantime, next questions are: who is the greatest of all time female Among Us player? Shout out to the ladies. Tell us.
The greatest female player that I've played against.
Or with. Doesn't have to be against.
Or with. I'd actually have to say Maddie. Stepsus.
Mmm.
I have not actually played with Kate. I see a lot of people saying Kate, and I have
Kate is
not actually played with her.
like actually great at the game, and a little bit controversial. Has a spotty history in terms of like sus in terms of plays by the rules. But Kate and I had an incredible career conversation when she was applying for moderator. I helped her prepare for the interview and really helped her think about like how to make that application pop. And I will say she's a great person. Like, my social read is Kate's going to do great things in life, irrespective of Among Us. So, yeah.
That's amazing. I haven't actually played a game with her, so I can't actually say for her and all.
All right, so then your vote is Stepsus, who I've yet
Yes.
to actually interview, but I think... By the way, there's a shout out to Raka, who I think also has about...
Yes,
Actually,
Raka is actually really, really good too.
I think she wanted to keep her number of hours private, but it's a lot. So,
It is a lot.
yeah, it's a lot. And she always knows when I'm imp. So if I'm ever in a lobby with Raka, I have to kill her off cooldown first.
She's called button on me like 7 times as him,
Yeah.
instantly knowing,
She
and I'm
is
like,
so good.
how do you know?
And you know what's funny? She actually has the same voice as my sister, because she's Australian as well. And so is
Oh,
my
really?
sister, and so am I. So it sounds like I'm playing with my sister. It's crazy. So pretty fun. Yeah, all right. We're gonna move to the next question. I'm sorry if we don't get to all the questions, guys, but we will want to start the Stumble Guys pretty soon. So we're gonna be wrapping up. Let's see. Next question is Marze says he wants to explain what the rank system needs. Marze, for that one, I would encourage you to write it down just because we don't have time to derail the conversation too much. And please address it in the form of a question. And then for Dread, why did you leave Purple? And would you return, why or why not?
I'm going to abstain from that.
Okay. And then we'll go to the next question. Who is your favorite imposter partner that you've had so far?
My favorite imposter partner, hands down, goes to Dreadwolf.
Nice. Awesome.
We think very, very alike, and we work in unison so well.
Great. You know, that imposter synergy is such an important quality to have. When you two are on the same wavelength, it's beautiful. You don't even have to DM each other. You just know the plan.
Yeah.
You know your role.
We never
you know
had to
who's
say
first.
anything.
You know who's second. You don't even have to wiggle for the double kill. You just know. Like, that is
Yeah.
a beautiful thing. It's like when you're jamming with someone in music and you both realize what has to happen and you just do it. It's so
Yeah, like,
great. Yeah.
I never had to say anything to Dread, and it was just synergy instantly.
It's beautiful. It's poetry in motion. It's what makes the game great. Nothing better. No better feeling in Among Us. Okay, we have another question. We're getting into the closing minute, guys. I hope you've all had fun with this Q&A. I've had a brilliant time. The question is XYZ, specifically X dropped X, is he a good person?
I actually don't know. I'm not going to disclose the entire past of it, but his hacking history is what's kind of holding him back.
I won't hold the hacking against him because so many members of the community have hacked. And there was a
I think
whole...
it's more the timing of it.
There was a whole drama. Like, the whole community back in Purple was split in two at one point because there was debate about who got to be the tier list host, and there was a whole band of support for X, and then a whole band of support for Decode, and like the community was divided, and there was all this drama, and like I have personally spoke with X quite a bit. He's a young guy. He's won a lot of prize money. He's committed to like coding and learning and growth, and in his personal life, I think he'll do great things because
I think he's got a lot for his future, for sure.
He's not afraid to bend the rules a bit, and that can actually be an asset if it's deployed tactically, as I'm sure you're aware, given that you.
Yeah, I was about to say I was down that history road, so I can definitely agree with that.
I have bent the rules in real life as a young kid, and I know what it's like. You know?
Yeah.
It's very risky, of course. Like, you're playing with fire a little bit. So, like, you have to be measured with how you do that and use it as a learning experience and then really make the right call. That, for me, is way in the past. And as a result, I've learned and grown from that. But, you know, young kids are curious. You'll try things. You'll learn from it. And then it's just all about what you do differently. Like, try not to make the same mistakes again.
Yeah.
You know, make new mistakes. That way you can learn new lessons. Okay, we are at closing time. I'm going to have to say, for all the questions I didn't get to ask, I'm so sorry. It's just the nature of this sort of event. We could speak all day. I'm going to have to say all the other questions we'll get to at a future time. Thank you all for attending. We're now going to do a quick shout out to Baddies, and we're going to move on to Stumble Guys. So for anyone who doesn't have Stumble Guys installed, just go to Steam, go to the store, it's free. And if you join Baddies, by the way, you'll be eligible for prizes. I will be matching all server donations tonight from any member of the Baddies up until I've paid about $100. And whoever wins the tournament, I'm willing to donate $20 towards any cause of your choosing, whether that's a ranked server or whether it's like a charity. Or if you make a compelling case, it can go to your personal bank account or whatever. I will judge you a bit for that, you know, but, you know, everyone has different financial situations, so if you really need it, then whatever. But yeah, $120 is on the line. Thank you so much, Vex. This has been incredible. I've had
It's
just
been
a
great.
delightful conversation with you.
Thank
Very
you.
good use of time. And will you be joining us for Stumble Guys?
I am, and also my pick for the favorite question.
Yes. Let's not forget.
It happens to be the hard times create strong crew create good times.
Let's go,
Do
Kenneth!
I agree?
Kenneth, the winner of Nitro. Congratulations, Ken. Ken, I don't remember if you still have a Twitch stream, but I'm gonna go ahead and shout you out if you do. So do let me know. But yeah, shout out to Ken. GG's. So Ken, if you want to DM me, we'll do the Nitro at some future point. Just hit me up. But for now, we're gonna focus on Stumble Guys.
Sounds great. I'm actually gonna open that up right now myself.
Excellent.
And if you want, I can probably bump us up to the events chat if you'd like, unless you just like us stay in here.
Let's go to events. I think that we can do open mic now. Everyone's happy to chat. You know. Thanks so much. This was incredible. Great experience. Shout out to Vex, guys.
Thank you.
What's up?
Whoa.
Hello.
Wait, oh, okay, never mind. I just need to download it, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
if you just go to your Steam and go ahead and download Stumble Guys.
Notice, I think I missed your answer. I think I missed it when you were answering the question. I actually think that I was probably like barely missed it.
Wait, Stumble Guys is free, right?
It
Yep.
is
Yes.
free.
Bet.
Bricknick, you are a great host.
Well, thank you so much.
Oh my god, Bricknick, I just need you to coach me already. Come on.
You know, my DMs are always open. I'm happy to donate lots of time to Ranked Among Us. So
Oh yeah, wait.
just set
Lex, I
aside
need
the
to.
place.
Okay. Lex, I need to disagree with one thing you said. You
Yeah?
said Bloodgrime is the worst player in the server. Have you played with Darkflip in English?
I have played with Darkflip.
What do you
Darkflip-
mean? Darkflip is the GOAT.
Darkflip is the worst player like I've genuinely have ever seen in my Among Us career.
Nah,
What
he
do
gets
you
so
mean?
much hate. He's not even bad, guys.
Freaking. He threw my first game. I flamed him. I said, okay, never mind. I'm gonna forget it because Lex told me to give him another chance. I gave him another chance. The next lobby I played with him, he hard accused me 2 games in a row on tennis crewmates. I'm not
Marseille,
giving him no more chances. It
You have
sucks.
grown a lot in this game. Do you remember when I